Do your children go to school in Melbourne? Are you interested in how their school might be shaping them for the future? I'm Crystal, a regular Melbourne mum interested in all things to do with schools. In this podcast, I want to talk to the people in the education system in Melbourne, including parents, students, and maybe even some principals to get a better understanding of what goes on in schools and how they're shaping our kids. It's time to go to school on the Melbourne Schools podcast. Hi parents, welcome to the Melbourne Schools podcast. Tonight I have a friend who has two daughters at Avila. Avila is a Catholic girls' school hidden in the leafy suburb of Mount Waverley on the eastern side of Melbourne. Avila was one of the first schools I toured and it left a great impression on me. It's also ranked among the top 100 schools in Melbourne based on last year's BC median scores. So tonight I'm excited to chat to Liv about what her and her kids' real-life experience has been at Avila. Hello Liv!
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this public holiday.
You're welcome.
It's been a bit of a saga trying to catch up with you to get our calendars to match up.
I know. That's all my fault. Sorry.
No, I know you're busy. You've got so many kids to look after.
And a husband.
And a husband.
Fourth kid.
True.
Yes.
So, firstly, tell me about your daughters. What years are they in and how old, or not how old are they, what years are they in?
Yeah. So I have two daughters. One is currently in year 12 and my youngest is just started year 7 this year.
Ah, okay. So you've been through all the years with your older daughter and happy to put your younger daughter in year 7. So it must have been quite good.
100%. You get a lot of, I myself got a lot of negativity from friends at primary school, parents that are very, don't send your kids to a girls' school. Why would you do that? Send them to co-ed. At the end of the day, with Cadence, being our eldest, we had no preference whether she went to a girls' school or a co-ed school. So we did all the normal tours with her. And ultimately, it wasn't her decision, but we let her, play a big part in where she did want to go. And the final 2 schools that it came down to were actually a co-ed school, which was probably high on her list. She was like, yep, I think this is where I really want to go. And we were 100% fine with it. Avila was actually our last school that we toured. And she walked out of there and she was like, you know what? I think this is where I want to be, Mum. And I'm like, okay. It was an easy decision for me because at the time I had 2 nieces. One was just finishing and one was halfway through. So I knew the background of the school and my sister was happy with it and the rest of it.
So your sister's kids went there?
My sister's 2 daughters went there.
Right, okay.
So it was an easy decision. I was happy with whatever Cadence was happy with and
What do you think made her to pick? Like, what do you think made her change her mind from the initial one that she had chosen?
I don't know. The other school that she thought she wanted to go to was a much bigger school.
Okay. Do you mind saying which one that was? Or
it was Emmaus.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep.
So I don't know if it was more of it's a smaller school than Emmaus, like I guess on a map, like it's not as big.
Yep.
So I don't know if it was maybe that she felt a little bit more homely. I'm not sure what it was, but that was probably just based on her doing a tour and walking around the school. She didn't really know anything else. So it was just, I guess, a gut feeling for her.
But then her cousins would have gone there as well.
Her cousins were there, but we never went there. Do you know what I mean?
You didn't know much about it from them.
Yeah, there was no need for us to go and see them at school or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what other schools did you tour as well?
We toured Mater Christi.
Yes.
Nazareth.
Belgrave, that's the one
in Belgrave.
Yes.
We toured Nazareth and then we did Emmaus and then we did Avila.
Okay, so good selection of the Catholic schools around the area.
Probably the 4 closest to us. And the primary school she was at, they kind of fed into all those schools. So.
Oh, right. Okay, so you had the choice.
Yeah. So
Do you remember the tour? You went with her?
I did go with her. I vaguely remember it. There was maybe 2 girls that took us around the school.
Yeah.
It was a daytime tour, which I really like those. I like being able to see the school in action. I know a lot of schools do them after hours or whatever.
On weekends.
Or on weekends, which, I don't think that gives you a really good indication of how the classes run, how the teachers handle the kids, just how the kids move around the school and what they act like. So, yeah, I guess that would have gone hand in hand with the feeling that she got. We did have a chat, like Dr. Cotter pulled everyone into their auditorium that they've got and, spoke to the girls and did all that. And she definitely has a way. She's got this beautiful, welcoming, empowering, feeling behind it. And I think the girls feel that too.
That's so interesting. She left a huge impression on me. I did the tour, obviously, and when I walked into the auditorium, so the first thing on the tour is the presentation by her. I had no idea what she looked like or who she was. When I walked into the auditorium, I saw this lady up the front just chatting to the audience, and I didn't know that she was the principal. She was so casual and so friendly. And yeah, she's really different from the standard principal, I think.
Yeah, I agree. She, fast forward 6 years later with my youngest one there. And actually she did this with my eldest as well. With all the year 7 kids, she does this thing called Cookies and a Chat.
Yes, she mentioned that.
She goes through every single year 7 year level and pulls out a certain number of girls. I don't know if she does it weekly or however she does it, but they all go into her office and they just have a chat with her for, half an hour, 45 minutes. Like she'll do maybe say 6 girls at a time.
Is that regular thing or?
She just does it with the year 7s.
Yep. But like just once during year 7? Oh, just the once off.
It probably takes her the whole year to get through all of them.
Yep.
But and I think that's just really nice,
Yeah, she did mention that during the talk, and I was wondering, I wonder if this really happens. Like, I wonder what it's really like. You know how some any marketing is like people say this is what we're going to do and this is what happens, but does it really?
It doesn't happen. Yeah. No, she does it every single year. Yeah, every single year. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. So your younger daughter would have had done this recently?
She hasn't done it yet.
Oh, she hasn't done it yet. Okay.
So they haven't got around to her year level yet. But yeah, a lot of her friends have already had it. But yeah, I think it's just really cute. It's really nice.
I think it's really nice too. And I think it's really personable because, I mean, in the end, I wonder if she knows all the kids there personally, or I mean even has an idea of who they are, because I know a lot of principals don't. I mean, schools are so big and there's so many kids there. At least she's sort of met them personally. Yeah,
I do feel like she does in a way go out of her way to make sure she does know most of them. I mean, God, I actually don't know how many girls are at that school at the moment, but yeah, she definitely doesn't hide away in her office. And, I'm pretty sure at lunchtime she's out wandering around and chatting to them and the rest of it. On my youngest's first day of school, she was out the front and welcoming the girls and taking photos with them.
Lovely. And I think that makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
When the principal is personally there.
Yeah, agree. Do agree.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear, because I know that I'm not sort of duped at the tour, because I got a really good impression that she was very friendly.
Yeah, no.
When I walked in, and I was like, wow, like, I mean, she wasn't talking to me, but she was talking to lots of the audience members, and I thought that's very unusual for a principal to be that close to the audience and sort of not be. Usually they get introduced and they sort of walk in and give their presentation, which wasn't the way that what she was doing.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm a little bit like you too. Like, I don't, like, I'll so many times see something or watch something, I'm like, oh my God, that's so fake or whatever.
Yeah, skeptical.
I can't think of the word. What am I?
Not skeptical?
Yeah, maybe that. So yeah, and I guess it would be easy to think that first meeting her.
Yes.
Because you're there to she potentially wants you to enroll your child.
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
blah, blah, blah.
I mean, all tours. I mean, you've got to admit that all tours are marketing. Every school who's running a tour, it wants you to go there. I mean, that's why they do it.
100%. 100%. And I don't want to name names, but there's a certain school that I've heard that apparently they do a really great marketing spiel and get everyone in, and then a lot of people are let down once they're there.
Oh, really?
So so you are 100% right. But
yeah, I mean, that's the fact of life. Yeah, that's a fact of life. It's all marketing.
Yeah. Well, you're a principal. You're going to get in trouble if your numbers drop. So,
Yeah, yep.
But yeah.
So during the presentation, she also spoke about how I think the impression that I got of Avila coming from her presentation was that academics are important, but there's also a lot of other stuff that you need to try during high school. And Avila will try to give you that opportunity, but the girls have got to take it.
Yeah.
And that was sort of my impression coming away from that tour. This is what it's going to be like here. We're going to give you heaps of opportunities. There's heaps of clubs to join. And that's really important part of school life. It's not just about study. Has that been the experience from you?
So with my older girl, it was a bit different for her. She was in year 7 when COVID hit.
Oh, yep.
So pretty much year 7, year 8, she homeschooled. And it was like towards the end of year 8 that she went off properly to school kind of thing. So it was a bit of a different feel for her because it was almost like being back in year 7 again. She wasn't familiar with the school.
When she started year 9.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because they hadn't been at school.
Yep.
So I feel like, and plus she's very different to my youngest one. She's a bit more reserved. So she's not the type of girl that would want to go join every club and do everything. Sure. She's quite happy just to be with her friends and just do her thing. My younger one, she's a bit of a go-getter, and I feel like she'll be the one that is trying out new things and doing all the things available. We'll have this chat in like a year or 2 and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Like, like there's tryouts for sports teams and this and that, and she wants to be there and she wants to do it.
Wow,
she's been at school for 2 months.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I guess, I mean, you want the school to be able to cater to all kinds of kids. I mean, not just the ones that are really outgoing and want to try stuff, but also the ones that sort of are happy to be reserved as well.
And you know what? And if they're happy to do that, they don't push them to do things.
Okay.
Everyone just does what they want to.
Yeah.
There's no hard word put on them if they're not in this club or they've never done this, or do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that there's any kind of predominant culture there? Like, I know some schools are known as, more sporty or more like, they've got a really big performing arts sort of reputation. Like, do you feel like Avila has anything in particular that would stand out?
There are a lot of like, I guess like, I'd say the theatre is a big part there. A lot of the girls love it, and music, but then like at the same time they've got some really great sport teams that do really well.
Okay.
So like I'm only going by teams that my daughter's friends are in or they've been in, but I think their aerobics team went to nationals last year, and I think I saw something on their Instagram that the girls' cricket team like won some competition they had not long ago. So yeah, I would say it's a mixture between sport and more the theatrical side of things.
Yeah. What about academics? Because they do really well.
Yeah, I mean, gotta chuck academics in there. Maybe they're just really smart, sporty,
everything. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, so you haven't felt like, it's funny because you didn't bring up academics like I brought it up. And actually, the interesting thing is during that presentation, I go back to that tour that I went to, academics wasn't really brought up either.
Yep.
There was a little bit of a talk about the Ducks of the year before, and it was more of a story about how she had such a good balance in her last exam period. Like, she used to go out and eat pizza on a Friday night and made sure that she spent time with her friends. And that was the story that they choose to tell, like Dr. Cotter choose to tell it during the presentation.
Yep.
Yeah, so I find it quite interesting that the girls do quite well in academics too.
And I think, you know what, like from a parent point of view, I'm all for that as well. You know, like my husband and I aren't ones to shove academics down our kids' throats. Like, do you know what I mean? Like if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. Of course, we don't let them get away with not doing it.
Yeah.
But we're not those parents that say you can't go out during the week because you have to study and you have to do this. So, you know, all 3 of our kids play sport. The 2 older ones now work. So they juggle sport, they juggle work, and they juggle seeing their friends and with school. And they all seem to be doing really well. So, you know, like my older one in particular, she's doing really well. Like
at school.
At school.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
but you know, she's not, you know, I say this and she's in her room right now studying for an exam she's got tomorrow, but she does have a really good balance of everything. So I don't know, maybe that's the secret.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's great to come from you guys as a parent. I wonder, like, is that the school sort of culture too? Like, do you find that other people at the school are like that as well?
No, because she's definitely got friends that parents are the opposite.
Right.
I think that's just, you know what? I think that's how I was brought up. And probably like my husband was too. So that's how we are. Like, And then it just coincides with that's obviously how the principal portrayed it to you guys in the that's just luck.
Yeah,
that we're the same there.
Yeah, so your values are very similar.
Maybe that's why we liked it.
Yeah. So generally speaking, it sounds like you had a pretty good experience.
I have, you know, and I want to jinx myself because I've still got another 6 years there. And you know, we all know all kids are different. So I don't expect my youngest to be like my eldest. So, you know, she's still at that stage where she's finding her feet and, you know, making different friend groups and the rest of it. So fingers crossed. But from the school point of view, I can't complain.
Yeah. Do you find there's a lot of communication with the school? Like, are the parents involved a lot?
Yeah, no, there is, definitely. So, I mean, in terms of what's going on in the school, you know, there's always updates, whether it's on the app that they use to communicate with parents or whether it's on their Instagram, like you always know what's going on. So like parents are definitely well informed.
Can you tell me a bit about the Navigate program? Like, did Cadence do that?
No, what's that?
Oh, okay. I heard when I was on the tour that there is a program in Year 9 where they do things like this is sort of like hearsay from the kids, and the kids they were taking me around were in Year 8, so they didn't really know much either. But they sort of do a program where they make a product and they sell it to Kmart.
That's cool. That must have maybe come in after my daughter was in Year 9.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So maybe it's new. Okay. Interesting.
I can ask her and get back to you.
Yeah. Maybe your younger daughter will do it.
I'd say yeah.
Okay, so you can't tell me much about that.
I can't tell you, sorry. Another couple of years will come back. I'll tell you what clubs my younger one is in. And if she's done Navigate.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing my eldest did in Year 9 is they do a thing called City Experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah, tell me about City Experience.
So they spend a week in the city. They have to make their own way from home into the city. They have a meeting point. And during that day, they're given different tasks that they have to do throughout the city. They're in groups. And they have to pretty much find their way around the city and go to the, like, almost like different checkpoints kind of thing.
Yep. So it's like a navigation
I know that can be
task.
daunting to some parents. I guess parents that don't, you know, let their kids travel far from home or whatever, but she loved it.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. I was a little bit nervous, I guess, because she's my eldest, but she came out from it and she just loved it.
Oh, wow. What was it, like the little bit of independence? Or?
I think so, yeah. Look, there's always teachers around, so it's not like they're actually left in the city. Like there's teachers dotted around everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it was just that little bit of independence, you know.
Okay. So that happened in Year 9 as well?
That was Year 9 for her.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is there anything else that happens in year 9 that you can remember? I know some schools do like a big program and other things in year 9.
Yeah, I know a lot
Camps.
of schools with year 9 it's almost treated like a different kind of, school to the rest of the school, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
I don't feel like they did that at Avila. I think the year 9s might have had their own building.
Okay.
That they all just, because you know how all schools have different sections for every year level.
Yep.
And I think like at school, the year 7s and 8s are together. Like when I say that, I mean like, where their classrooms are, where their lockers are.
Yeah, similar area.
I think that at the time the year 9s had their own building. I think that building's now been torn down.
Oh.
And I think they've rebuilt something else. But no, they didn't. They
separate
didn't
them out or
really
anything.
separate them. And my son, he's at a different school to the girls, of course. They didn't really do it there either.
Oh, interesting.
Which is really interesting. They did, they did a few maybe extra camps in the year for him, but it wasn't made an issue of.
Yeah.
Them being in year 9. So, yeah, it was quite interesting. Like I speak to friends of mine who have kids at other schools and the year 9s go off to a completely different campus to the rest of the school.
Yeah, I did that in year 9.
Yes.
I think they kind of want to, some schools kind of want to get rid of the year because apparently it's a very difficult year.
Yeah, and you know
as a teen,
I'm going to touch wood again. So far with my older two, I have noticed no difference in them from years 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you didn't feel the need they had to move away from you.
No. They just felt the same as every other year. So,
yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe certain schools are recognising that now. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Well, interesting.
But yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about the religious aspect of Avila? Do you feel like it's a very religious kind of school?
The kids do religion all the way through, year 7 to year 12. I think, it is, like my kids went to a Catholic primary, so I don't think it's any as religious as that. So that's a kind of tricky one for me to answer because my kids
primary very religious or?
Well, they would still like do liturgies and go to church like during the week, like, if there were things on. And they still, of course, learnt religion in class. So I don't feel like it's any different from them.
Right.
For them going from, the kids that have come, I guess, from government schools or whatever would probably notice that it's a lot of religion. The only thing I would say is my older girl kind of wishes that she didn't have it in year 12.
Okay, yeah.
Because she would like to devote that time to her other subjects that she's doing.
Yeah.
So that would probably be the only, I guess, if you want to call it a negative. But yeah, I think she kind of finds it a little bit pointless at this point in her life, if that makes sense, which I think that's going to happen with anyone as they get older. And
yeah. How often do they have to do it in year 12?
I think she does it at least a couple of times a week.
Okay.
So yeah. Whereas my young one, she's funny because, she's far from a nun, but loves religion.
Oh, really?
Like she's actually a little bit of a rat bag, but she loves religion.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
She likes learning about it.
She loves learning about it. And she was like that in primary school too.
Oh. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, must suit her then.
It's funny, like, out of all three of them, she's the one that actually, just enjoys it. And it's hilarious because my husband, so he's Christian, and his mum used to run a Sunday school at her church.
Really?
And when my youngest was little, that's all she wanted to do was go to Sunday school.
Wow.
And so every week she'd go to Sunday. So we kind of laugh at her, but yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's well, good on her for enjoying it. I mean, it is quite interesting, I think.
You know what? This will be the third question for in 2 years' time. You can say, does your youngest still like religion? I'll probably say no.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe it's one of those teenage things.
Yeah, but no, in a sense of my kids, more so my older girl, because I don't really know my youngest one's friends yet, but she's got a lot of friends that aren't Catholic that are there.
Oh, really? Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah, and I don't think they're bothered by the religion, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so obviously it's not a crazy amount that it's like drilled into them kind of thing.
Yep.
But it's obviously just enough so they're aware.
Yeah, yeah. You know? I mean, it is a Catholic school.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
So do you find that there are a lot of non-Catholics that do go there?
Yeah, so if I look at my eldest's friendship group, I would say in that friendship group, I would say half are not Catholic.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's just say in a group of 10, I'd say 5 are not Catholic.
Yep. So you obviously don't have to be Catholic to go there.
No.
Because that's one of the things that I hear parents like really worry about. Like some of them want to go to a Catholic school, but they feel like, well, I'm not religious or I'm not Catholic. But it sounds like you don't need to be.
No, I don't think you do.
You don't have to do all the religious ceremonies and stuff to get in.
I feel like, you know, when we were younger, I think it was a big thing.
Okay.
Like you got into a school based on, you know, if you were Catholic or not and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I think these days, maybe because, you know, the country's got so much more multicultural, they've had to bend a little bit.
Yep.
But I guess, you know, part of them not being Catholic is, I guess, they're agreeing to go there to learn the Catholic way.
Yeah, well, it
kind
of makes sense, doesn't it? Like, I mean, why? They're there to sort of spread the word. So wouldn't you want to spread the word to people who don't believe you?
Well, exactly. They're probably the ones that you want, aren't they?
But no, that's really good to hear, that it is sort of diverse and not just Catholics, and there is a chance that people can get in.
I've never heard of like anyone not getting in because they're not Catholic.
Right. I would have thought that there is some sort of hierarchy of enrollment.
I think there would be. I definitely think there would be a hierarchy. So, you know, number one being your religion. And then I guess it would filter down to whether you're a feeder school, if you go to a Catholic primary or whatever, whether you've got siblings. And then, yeah, I do think there would be some kind of hierarchy, but yeah.
I'm sure it'll be on their website if there's some sort of policy. But it's interesting to hear that so many of them aren't actually Catholic.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. One thing I remember from the tour is Dr. Cotter spoke about inclusivity and diversity, which is sort of related to what we're talking about. But she's mentioned that there are some things that are baked into the environment, which I thought was really interesting and really thoughtful. She said things like the library is open during lunchtime and you can bring your food in, and that's done on purpose so that kids who are feeling a little bit left out and don't really want to run around and play in the playground can bring their food in and have a chat to other kids. And I thought that's really thoughtful way of creating this environment. Like, do you find that when you're there?
Yeah, I think, you know, and what you just said then about the library, it 100% works, what she's, you know, developed there, because, you know, a few times my youngest one will come home and I'll say to her, "Oh, what did you do today?" And she'll be like, "Oh, we just went to the library and chatted," and, you know, because I didn't want to be out in the playground or whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's, I think it's really nice that they have a space like that.
Yeah, I think so too. But it would be such an easy thing to implement. It's just like being able to bring your food in, and then the kids will go in there and have a chat instead of running around. What else did she mention? I mean, even like, you know, she mentioned some things like, you know, the sizes of the tables. Sometimes the smaller tables are intermixed with like the larger tables in case you need to have a more intimate chat with like, you know, one or two friends rather than like a big group. Oh, and the clubs as well. Having lots of clubs apparently is a good thing for, I mean, improving belonging, obviously, and inclusivity, but also being able to have a chat while doing something with your hands is, I think, how she phrased it.
Yeah, there definitely are a lot of clubs. You know, just from like what I hear from, you know, the girls, and, you know, you can see it all over their Instagram, because she'll put things up and, you know, I can't think off the top of my head, but, you know, this is the such and such club at lunchtime showing blah, blah, blah.
Oh, right.
You know, so yeah.
Oh.
And
Can you think of a few, like, for example, like what kind of
jump
clubs?
on quickly?
Yeah, sure, have a look.
When it's actually really cool. Like, what I find is really cool, and I actually never realized this until I saw it on their Instagram page. When I was at school, I loved woodwork, which is such a boy subject. But I went to a co-ed school.
Yep.
So, of course, we had all those kind of, subjects available to us. I loved woodwork.
Right.
And just automatically assumed, which I shouldn't, that they wouldn't have it. And then they put a post up of the girls in woodwork doing stuff. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, they do it.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, why should it be a boys' thing?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, girls can be good at woodwork.
Yeah, so like, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Exploring design careers.
Or is that a subject?
Just exploring design careers, and it's got the girls. It looks like they're making a stepping stool or something or other.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, I thought that's really cool because I feel like that's another thing that I like, that girls are still, exposed to all those types of subjects.
Yeah.
Which I guess was probably a little bit of a hesitation I first had was, I didn't want them just to be doing food tech and, design.
Cook. Yeah.
So it's nice to know that they have like an ag hort, which, for the kids are like all the horticultural stuff. And obviously woodwork.
Yes. Oh, okay. This comes back to our conversation about, being in a girls' school compared to a co-ed school. Have you found that? I mean, Cadence made the decision at the beginning, but have you found that that's been a good experience for her? I mean,
I think, yeah, definitely for her.
Yeah.
I kind of take it back to myself. I went to a co-ed school. And Cadence and I are very similar personalities. And I loved school, but I found, and it's only now as an adult that I can look back and see it, I would sit in some classes and, you'd have the rowdy, cool guys in there. And I would just go back into my shell and not want to participate in the class and not say anything because, what if they laughed at me? I don't want to look stupid in front of them, like all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I often said to my mum, I reckon if I went to a girls' school, I would have done heaps better.
Really?
And my mum laughs because she's like, oh, but you love school. And I'm like, yeah, I did love school, but there was that little aspect that held me back.
Yeah.
Well, probably more so as I got into, actually, no, even from year 7. So like, you'd have drama.
Yes.
And I would hate drama class because, like, I don't want to get up in front of these boys.
And,
then they start making fun of me because, and you're a teenager, yeah. It's like your most impressionable years.
Yes.
So I think from that aspect, I think Cadence has thrived because she hasn't had that worry.
Yeah.
And then everyone goes, oh, but they're going to be awkward around boys and, because they don't go to school with boys. Well, she's been working since she was 15 with boys. She's 100% fine with boys. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But I think that I'm kind of a bit of a believer that not all kids, but just with mine, that I think in a school environment, she does better without the boy distraction there.
Yes.
She would be that kid that wouldn't want to do something in fear of being laughed at or picked on.
She's a bit more sensitive.
Or the boy thinking that she's, oh my God, she's so stupid. Why'd you do that? Because boys are silly like that, right? So, yeah, I think
it's been a good experience.
I think it's definitely been a good experience for her. My youngest one, on the other hand, would give anything to be at a co-ed school.
Okay.
Quite often reminds me she wants to really go to school with it. See, all of her friends went to Emmaus.
Right.
She was a tiny little handful.
She didn't have the choice that her big sister had.
She didn't have the choice, but I did say to her, stick it out a year and we'll reassess it. And if it's not the right school for you, then we'll look at other schools.
Right.
And I'm not guaranteeing that it would be Emmaus. We'll just look at what else is out there.
Okay. Does she want to go to Emmaus because all her friends are there or just because it's a co-ed school or both?
I would say 98% because her friends are there.
Right, okay.
And probably 2% boys. She had a lot of good friends at primary school that were boys that went there.
Yep.
So, yeah. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
And she's a different kid too, Cadence.
Yes.
She probably could handle them.
Yeah, yep.
So
she probably wouldn't, maybe she's not as sensitive and wouldn't feel embarrassed or...
She's a little bit more out there than than her. But yeah, but you know what? Like, speaking from my eldest point of view, it was definitely the right decision for her.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I think about my own experience as well. I went to a girls' school.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's true in many ways that I felt like girls could do anything because I didn't have the experience of not being able to, I didn't realize that sciences were meant for boys. I had no idea. But I was also very reserved. Like I was still, very reserved at a girls' school. I don't know, would have been worse at a boys' school. I'm not sure because then I had the co-ed experience at uni, and I loved uni. I loved being in a co-ed environment. I felt like it was less competitive.
I guess the good thing is once you get to uni age, though, you're more mature.
Yeah.
You're not thinking with that teenage
you don't
mind.
know. You don't know what would have happened if it was different, or you can't go back and try try another path.
I think by the time as you get older, you learn to just ignore guys and just realize that
they're just, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I'm purely speaking from like a teenage,
Yes. Let's get back to just finish up about Avila. Is there anything that what is the thing that you loved most about the school? Like, what did you think your kids would enjoy most about the school?
I think the thing that they most enjoy about it, there's obviously the inclusivity, the feeling of, what's the word for it? No, I don't want to say welcoming or not homely, but do you know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean, but I'm going to let you come to it.
It's like, the teachers are always there for them to talk to. Like, it's not just you go to your class and the teacher wants nothing to do with you.
Okay.
Like, when my eldest was in year 9, she had an issue with maths and hated it and couldn't stand the teacher and this and that. And it was just the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher actually contacted me and said, I just want to have a word to you about, how Cadence is doing in maths and the rest of it. And, Cadence was absolutely livid because she's like, why are they contacting you?
Yeah,
like, I don't like her, kind of thing.
Wow. Yep.
Fast forward, that teacher is Cadence's favourite teacher. She is so invested in what Cadence is going to do next year when she finishes school.
Wow.
She's like Cadence's biggest cheerleader.
That is amazing.
And, I think I had to come around, I had to explain to Cadence. I'm like, Cadence took it as the teacher did back in year 9, Cadence, was taking it as she was attacking her.
Yep.
She doesn't like me. She keeps picking on me in class.
Yeah, now she's called my mum.
But it wasn't the case. She was pushing her because she could see the potential.
Right.
And once I got that through to Cadence and Cadence could actually see it, it just flipped. It turned, so like, I'm sure they're invested in every kid, but that was my one personal experience with just one teacher. Like, I've had others with other teachers.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she just, now Cadence does 2 maths in VCE.
Wow.
Like the girl that,
hated
I
maths.
hate maths and I hate this.
Oh, that's amazing.
So maths is and you speak to her now, it's her favourite subject.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the difference that one teacher can make.
Yeah. And how it started to like where it is now. Like, we just had parent-teacher chats the other week, and she was like, that Cadence, they make the kids sit in on the chats with you. A lot of schools don't. They do. They like.
So this is like a 3-way thing.
A 3-way.
Yep.
And she spent the whole time talking to Cadence. Like, I was there, but she was like, Cadence, so have you thought about this? And have you thought about? And I was just just the mum going.
They seem to have it under control.
Yeah, but
what is that?
So I guess it's that nurturing.
Yeah, I was going to say nurturing, a belonging.
Not feeling like you're just in there to learn, like they're interested in you.
Yeah, so you're not just one of a number of, hundreds of kids.
And I think that makes a massive difference.
I can imagine.
Like, at the end of the day, like, you come from that little primary school bubble where you're nurtured to no end. And I know there comes a time where you got to let go of that, but I still feel like there's a little bit of that there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep. And they're still really young. And I think that is really important, because some people are like, if you get really used to being nurtured, then what's going to happen in the real world? And I'm like, well, they're not old enough to be in the real world. I think they should be nurtured when they're young.
I agree.
Yeah.
100% agree. But, yeah, so I really can't fault them. Like, if there's ever been an issue, they're quick to email me, and I guess that's important.
Yes. Yep.
Because I guess it's so easy for them to just get home at the end of the day and go, that was a day. I can't be bothered doing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I feel like, we're not talking about my son's school, but they're exceptional with stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
I'm a parent.
Yeah, it sounds like you've chosen some. Yeah,
you send them off there for 6 hours a day.
Yeah,
you're not expecting them to be babysat, but you want to know that they're,
Well, if there's some issue,
and if there's an issue, you're told.
Yes,
and
definitely.
not just an issue because they're being naughty. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Everyone's quick to call parents with the naughty kids, but if they're that kid that they sense is, kind of, gone back into themselves and they're not their normal self in class, they'll call you and they'll let you know.
Really? So you reckon they would notice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's important to me.
I think so.
From my daughter's point of view, I think, I think who they make as friends is like top priority to get you through those, year 7 to 12 years. And I think if school teachers and classes are good, then that's just the added bonus.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, from a kid's perspective, it's just who they're there with, going on the journey with.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's obviously found some good friends to hang out with.
She has, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
is there anything that you can think of that you don't like about the school? Anything?
Yeah. Do you want me to sound really old when I say it?
Sure.
I really wish they would monitor the lengths of the school dresses.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that would be seriously, that is like my only thing.
Yeah.
I'm like a bit old school there.
Uh-huh.
All my kids have to go off looking how I want them to look. What happens when they walk out that back door, God knows. But, yeah.
Yep.
I really can't fault them
on
anything. Maybe a camp in year 9 would be good for the girls.
Yeah.
They don't do too many camps at Avila.
Yep.
And I remember, they do offer, like, not external, like the languages go to like Italy and stuff like that.
Wow.
And they do a camp in year 10, I think it is, where they do Central Australia.
Oh, nice.
But you have to apply for that.
Oh, so not everybody goes.
Not everyone goes. So it's just a certain number. But yeah, they do a camp in year 7 and that's pretty much it. So if I wanted to be fussy, and it's not even being fussy, I don't think. A camp in year 9 would probably be nice, especially, I don't know, if studies show that year 9 is a tricky year.
But it would be a good experience, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a fair point.
So, and like my oldest one, she's got year 12 retreat. So they go away for 3 days in June. Mm-hmm. But other than that, her last camp was year 7.
Oh, so is the retreat to study or is that to...
It's like a reflective thing. So they reflect on the year and...
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit religious.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Not that they do religion stuff, but it's, you reflect on yourself and what you've learnt and, know. And I guess they add that little bit of religious aspects into it here and there,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. Is there anything that you would like to add that I didn't ask?
I reckon you asked all the good questions.
Oh, that's
I reckon you took more from the information night than I did because you were saying stuff that I totally forgot.
It was more recent for me.
So kudos to you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for your time and thanks for joining me on the podcast. It's been great to chat to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining me on this podcast. Remember that the content that you hear on this podcast is of a general nature and should not be used to make any decisions about schools or anything else. If you want to learn more about schools in Melbourne, make sure you visit the website www.melbourneschools.com.au. You can also join thousands of other parents in our community at Melbourne Schools Discussion Group on Facebook. See you there.